Well, we're going to go back to one of our top stories about the presidency of the EU Commission, and joining us over the phone to discuss this further is Elizabeth Jones, a UKIP activist. Hopefully you can hear this time. Ms Jones, do you think the British Prime Minister David Cameron will be successful in forming this blocky minority to stop Juncker from heading the EU Commission?
Probably not. I should imagine an Angela Merkel would have her way. And really, does it matter who the EU Commissioner is? At the end of the day, does it really matter? I mean, the EU leaders in the past chose the president, but the new rules have now been taken into account, and they have to take a great deal of regard to the results of the European election. I understand Juncker's voting bloc was successful, so he doubtless thinks he has a divine right to that post.
So why do you think, and this, what you're talking about, this was under the Lisbon Treaty, why do you think there's this differing in the understanding of the Lisbon Treaty between Merkel and Cameron and the other EU leaders?
Well, there's a whole host of EU leaders for us to choose. I mean, I understand that Sweden, Denmark are siding with the UK against the selection of Juncker. I mean, maybe he won't be elected, but it wouldn't surprise me if Angela Merkel had her way and succeeded. I mean, Germany is the richest country in the EU, one of the driving forces. Also, there's we've also got to ask ourselves, what purpose is Juncker anyway? He's looking at his past. He doesn't seem to have been the most, I can say, liberal-minded. And now in the Lisbon Treaty 2005, when the French were having the referendum, he made the famous comment of saying, if the vote is yes, we will say, on we go. If the vote is no, we will say we will continue. So basically, he had a complete lack of respect for the electorate's wishes in France. Another famous quote of Juncker's, when it becomes serious, you have to lie. I mean, is that really the sort of person you want running Europe? And he also helped, one of the main instigators in launching the euro, and also says that his main push is about progress. And when he says progress, that is complete integration and federalization of the European project. Also, we've got to look at the value for money. I mean, I don't know if you're aware that Juncker will be getting a salary of about £247,000 per annum. He'll be getting a residence allowance of £37,000 per annum. He'll be getting a representation allowance of about £1,200 per month.
But these figures that you're saying to us would be given to any one of the EU leaders who is given the post of President of the EU Commission. But if we look at the Lisbon Treaty for now, some would say that because his party, the EPP, won the majority of the votes in the European parliamentary elections, and he's the guy that the party is actually pushing forward to the position, then he should have a mandate for the presidency of the European Commission. So if he doesn't get the post, does this not undermine the credentials of the political ways of how the European Commission actually goes around?
Well, as I said earlier, there has been the new rules say that he must take into account the results of the European election. As you rightly say, his party his bloc was successful. So yes, I suppose following on to that. But I mean, the EU is not democratic. It certainly doesn't follow the national electorate's wishes. So it seems to me it can do what it likes. So if there's enough of a fuss or enough of a threat, perhaps they won't choose Juncker, and they'll go through the other possible candidates. I think they've got Lagarde, Schulz, Star Keller, the Green candidate. You've got Alex Tsipras of Greece. And I note it doesn't appear to be a British candidate. As for undermining it, no, I don't. What does the EU have to do to undermine itself? We've had a whole host of referendums in nation states where the nations have said no, and the EU comes back and says, no, that's not the result we want. You will vote the way we want you to vote, and then, of course, it goes their way. We've had the fact that the laws aren't created by the European Parliament. They're handed down from the European Commission. So, the whole structure is quixotic and undemocratic.
Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for. Thank you very much for joining us, Miss Elizabeth Jones, a UKIP activist, joining us over the phone from London. Now, still to come. London hosts the first global summit to end sexual violence in conflicts.